Nor perchance, if I were not thus taught, should I the more suffer my genial spirits to decay? For thou art with me here upon the banks of this fair river, thou, my dearest friend, my dear, dear friend, and in thy voice I catch the language of my former heart and read my former pleasures in the shooting lights of thy wild eyes. Oh, yet a little while may I behold in thee what I was once. My dear, dear, and this prayer I make, knowing that nature never did betray the heart that loved her. 'Tis her privilege through all the years of this our life to lead from joy to joy. For she can so inform the mind that is within us, so impress with quietness and beauty, and so feed with lofty thoughts that neither evil tongues, rash judgments, nor the sneers of selfish men, nor greetings where no kindness is, nor all the dreary intercourse of daily life shall ever prevail against us or disturb our cheerful faith that all which we behold is full of blessings. Therefore, let the moon shine on thee in thy solitary walk, and let the misty mountain winds be free to blow against thee. And in after years, when these wild ecstasies shall be matured into a sober pleasure, when thy mind shall be a mansion for all lovely forms, thy memory be as a dwelling place for all sweet sounds and harmonies. Oh, then, if solitude or fear or pain or grief should be thy portion, with what healing thoughts of tender joy wilt thou remember me? And these exhortations, nor perchance if I should be where I no more can hear thy voice, nor catch from thy wild eyes these gleams of past existence. Wilt thou then forget that on the banks of this beautiful stream we stood together, and that I, so long a worshipper of nature, hither came unwearied in that service? Rather say, with warmer love, oh, with far deeper zeal of holier love. Nor wilt thou then forget that after many wanderings, many years of absence, these steep woods and lofty cliffs and this green pastoral landscape were to me more dear, both for themselves and for thy sake. In the final section of Tintern Abbey, Wordsworth refers to his sister, Dorothy, who was with him at the time of his first visit to the place. So, this reference to his sister enables him to read his former pleasures in the shooting lights. He refers to her, knowing that nature never died betray the heart that loved her. He regards her as an incarnation of her earlier self, as one who still feels the dizzy joys of life, which they have had earlier and can now recollect. He still sees in her eyes gleams of pleasure which he had enjoyed 5 years ago. He then proceeds to recall the lesson that nature never betrays the heart that loves her. Nature always imparts joy and leads their worshippers from joy to joy. Nature helps them avoid evil tongues and unsympathetic judgments and the sneers of selfish men. So, Wordsworth asks his sister to enjoy the beauties of nature and get rid of fear of pain and loneliness by her remembering the impressions of nature that stand up in her mind. They then stood together on the banks of the Wye. Wordsworth devoted himself to nature as a worshipper in the company of his sister, enhancing the beauty of nature in their eyes. The speaker encourages the moon to shine upon his sister and the wind to blow against her. And he says to her that in later years, when she is sad or fearful, the memory of this experience will help to heal her. And if he himself is dead, she can remember the love with which he worshipped nature. In that case, too, she will remember what the woods meant to the speaker. The way in which, after so many years of absence, they became more dear to him, both for themselves and for the fact that she is in them.